It's almost like we're like taking the yellow pages and then putting it online or something. I
Yeah.
mean, it's kind of a wacky problem that we're solving there.
So you're
And
single-handedly bringing the utility space into the future. So, all right. Welcome, DoorGrow property managers, to the Property Management Growth Show. If you are a property management entrepreneur and you want to add doors, you want to make a difference, you want to increase revenue, you want to help others, you want to impact lives, and you're interested in growing in business and life, and you're open to doing things a bit differently, then you are a DoorGrow property manager, and you just don't know it. DoorGrow property managers love the opportunities, daily variety, unique challenges, and freedom that property management brings. Many in real estate think you're crazy for doing it. You think they're crazy for not, because you realize that property management is the ultimate high trust gateway to real estate deals, relationships, and residual income. At DoorGrow, we are on a mission to transform property management business owners and their businesses. We want to transform the industry, eliminate the BS, build awareness, change perception, expand the market, and help the best property management entrepreneurs win. I'm your host, property management growth expert, Jason Hull, the founder and CEO of DoorGrow. Now, let's get into the show. And I'm hanging out today with Zac Maurais. Did I say it right?
that's right. Yes. Hey,
Nailed
happy
it.
to be here. Nailed it.
Zac. All right, cool. It's great to have you on the show. So, Zac, we're going to be chatting today about wires, pipes, and signals, everything you wish you knew about home utilities. I think this will be interesting to our listeners because, we get into this stuff as property management people. So Zac, before we get into that, though, give us a little backstory on you. How'd you get into being an entrepreneur? When did you first figure that out that you maybe were one? And then we can get into why you started this business. So that you've got
Sure.
going. You want to tell
Let's
everybody about it. Cool.
let's do it. Yeah, so quick intro on myself. I live here in Austin, Texas. I've been an entrepreneur now for better part of a decade and a half. Right out of college, I started a business. It was actually a food delivery business called Favor. We ended up scaling that business to having 50,000 delivery drivers in the state of Texas. So it was the second
Yes.
largest employer in the state. And over the course of building it up over a couple of years, we were doing over $100 million of food sales a year. So sizable company. And we sold that to HEB Grocery.
Yeah.
And
And if people don't know HEB, I'm in the Austin area. I'm up in Round Rock. But if people don't know HEB consistently wins the best grocery store awards like in America every year. Like it's always winning.
it's kind of amazing. I mean, they are an institution. There's so many small towns across Texas. We're the only show in town. I would
Mm.
kind of say it's akin to like a Walmart or something like that for a national
Yeah.
brand that people would be more familiar with. Family run business, been around for 100 years. So it's cool that it had joined forces with Favor and learned a lot from doing that company. I mean, at the time that we sold it, we had over 140 corporate employees, designers and software engineers and business intelligence people and salespeople. So I'm right there with you, Jason, where I like growth. I like growing things and learning about business and
Yeah.
learning about new categories. So as I sold it, I was looking for the next thing to do.
So people are clear. Favor, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but Favor competes with like Instacart and like some of these. It's like a delivery service.
That's right. So the way
Yeah.
that the service worked was it was like an on-demand, it was part of the on-demand delivery kind of
Yeah.
thing that was happening, the gig economy. People probably remember Lyft coming out and Uber. There wasn't one for delivery of kind of like fast casual food or groceries yet, and we brought that
Mm.
into the market. We had first mover
Oh yeah.
advantage
So
in
yeah, it's
doing
kind of like
so.
Uber Eats and these kind of things. Mhm.
Exactly. So you could tap a button, request a favor, and then someone would go shopping for you, go pick up some tacos or
Yeah.
run to the grocery store or something like that and bring it to you in 45 minutes or less.
Got it. And is Favor just a Texas thing?
At one point in time, we tried to go national expansion, but it was a bit of a wartime thing that was going
Yeah.
on. A lot of VC dollars getting put in, and we had a very strong Texas brand. We had over 1 million people in Texas using it. So we
Yes.
said, we just double down on home base.
I mean, Texas is like its own little universe. We've got Favor, we've got HEB, we've got, there's all these things that are just specifically Texas. So if y'all come to Texas, you got to like experience the whole Texas deal. You got to go to an HEB, you got to go to Bucky's, you got to go to all these things, right?
Yeah,
So,
right. When you're here in town for Jason's event, go get yourself some Yeti swag
Yes.
and then order yourself a favor.
Yes. There you go. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. And people get really religious about their, things like Yeti. It's like Yeti Mecca. Like people, like my brother-in-law comes into town. He's like, I got to go to the Yeti store. He's like, just like starry eyed in there. And I'm like, what, why? Coolers, thermoses? I don't know.
Cool
But yeah.
drinks.
Yeah, it's a thing. So he like collects them, and then sometimes he's flipping them too. Like there's limited edition things. So my brother-in-law's name is Jason also, so he might listen to this. So Jason, I mentioned you on my podcast. So all right.
Shout out to Jason.
Shout out to Jason. So cool. So Zac, I mean, that's a pretty impressive thing. Not many people can say they built $100 million, business or had an exit or something like that. So, and then what did you do next? Like you sell this thing. Did you lose all meaning and purpose in life and decide to start a new business, or what happened?
I think that happens with some people, right? You sell it, you have some money. You're like, what am I going to do with my life now? I must take a good thing and somehow it becomes a bad thing. But I really like building, and I
Yeah.
like the process of entrepreneurship where you talk to people, you try to find a problem, and you like go hit a whiteboard, you sketch it, becomes more
Yeah.
tangible. And then all of a sudden you can partner with an engineer, make it, and then bring it back to the customer. And I just like that. It kind of just scratches something in my brain, I think.
Yeah.
And something else that's been cool for me on my entrepreneurship journey, I had mentioned that I've been doing it now for a decade and a half. And the entire time that I've been working and doing startups, I've been doing it with like my best friend Ben from growing up together. We
Best
middle
friend Ben.
school in New Hampshire, and it's fun to be able to go on that journey with someone like that.
Yeah, that's cool. So you and Ben are still doing stuff together then.
Right.
Yeah.
Third company,
Awesome.
third company now. So
Yeah. Dynamic duo. All right. And so I imagine that you have some complementary sort of skill sets and challenge each other a bit.
yeah, I think our brains have kind of been swapped and it became more of the same brain. But the way
Yeah.
that I explained it originally was like Ben was the left brain engineer, right? He's going to build out the back
Mm,
end database. He was a civil
yeah.
engineer, so he's just constantly doing math. And then I was more of you can kind of see there's some paintings behind me. Like I was the artist,
The
right
right
brain,
brain guy.
but
Got
now
it.
they just kind of became one. It's somewhere in between now. He kind of went a bit more right, I went more left. So
Cool. So bring us up towards the present day. So like what are you and Ben, getting together and working on?
yeah, so I guess the way that we got into the property management industry was we were trying to build some leasing automation tech over the last few years. We had something called Sunroom Leasing, and it was like a platform that would help with self showings, with different things related to collecting some data from renters about the home. We had at one point in time around 8,000 homes that were leasing across the country for
Nice.
some real estate investment trusts and some large scale property managers. And it kind of turned us on to this. Like, it had some challenges, I think, of that scale. And so we ended up realizing that's not what we want to do long term, and something that it was like a good ride, but I think we were onto something that could be more scalable and a more acute problem to solve.
Yeah, this
And
was like a tuition business. You're learning and paying the
exactly,
price of tuition. Yeah. So you got familiar with the property management industry a bit through that,
that's
figured
right.
out kind of your target audience, and you probably started to see some different problems. You're like started scheming with your whiteboard on. So
Yeah, and the problem that we zoomed into was around utility setup. And what we thought was kind of a silly thing was here it is, it's 2024. This was last year that we had launched it. We realized that there wasn't like a Google Maps of utilities. We thought it was silly
mm,
that you couldn't just type in an address online and then see what's the water, what's the electric, what's the gas, what's the internet. There
yeah,
was no transparency for that. And when we looked closer, there's like you zoom in on water, there's over 20,000 water providers, and they have really weird setups, or it could be down just by the neighborhood or the zip code or it's
yeah,
just wacky the way that the mapping works. And we thought if we could build out the whole mapping infrastructure, that would be a valuable thing both for owners of the property that just want to have a more streamlined process, property managers that are doing it every day, and then renters. If you kind of think of this problem of setting up utilities, while it's annoying and they have to Google around and make a bunch of phone calls, this is just one problem within a whole, iceberg of other things. It's just the tip, small thing that they're doing
Yeah.
a ton of things related to the move. We thought that if we could streamline this, then it could have a broad appeal and be something that we could do nationally and do at a big scale. So over the last year, what we've done is we've built out that infrastructure to be able to do mapping at scale. And we have built a platform that streamlines the process of turning on utilities. We're trying to make the utility on switch. And
Mm.
it's a cool tool because the property managers using it can get confirmation that utilities have been set up correctly. And
Yeah.
this is helpful for them because, if you don't turn on the electricity and it's the dead of winter, you're probably going to have some problems on your hands with pipes bursting, and things like that. So
Yeah.
it's a useful tool in the process.
So let's talk about this problem, right? This is super annoying. Like everybody that's moved has had to figure out this weird, puzzle to like which utility providers are available here, which internet provider can I use, what are my options, can I get this cool fiber, thing, can I get this, is there like what's available. Then they're trying to figure out like water, electric. You're maybe trying to find out from the previous owner or
Right.
somebody, and you're trying to like negotiate all this, and then like getting things switched, and then the timelines, like it's a mess, like it's really annoying. And yeah, it's like, why do we just deal with this and put up with this? We're living in the age of AI and this AI revolution now. And why isn't there a better solution to this? It seems like it's just like chaos and confusion. Yeah.
It
So,
is chaos and confusion. Yeah. And people waste so much time doing it. And
yeah.
and I think as a result, like sometimes people will just make sacrifices where they'll be like, well, I was on this telecom company before, maybe I'll just go back to them. And then I might
Yeah.
miss out on being able to be like, well, I could have had faster internet or a better plan that's cheaper or something if they had
Sure.
just
Yeah.
known that they had options.
Right. You're like, man, I'm still using dial up and I didn't realize Google Fiber was available here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. They're on that old AOL like
Yes. I remember those days. I was such a nerd. All right. So, yeah, and people may maybe get impatient and they just make some quick decisions, and all these companies try to give them incentives like, hey, if you move, like we'll move it, and help you get it set up. And they try to make it seamless, but because they're trying to retain their, the customer, but that might not be in the best interest of the customer.
Yeah, so we're in the spirit of trying to add transparency to the process,
Mm.
make it more streamlined, and have a really lightweight tool, like, not another app you have to download, but just something that seamlessly fits in the move-in process,
Okay.
integrates really well with the tools that the property manager is already using, just is able to sync in real time, figure out what are the addresses coming up, and then give the property manager a way to both communicate what the utilities are and then check that they've been turned on. And then, interestingly, there's a lot of places in the US where these telecom companies are competing, and they spend a lot of money to lay down these fiber optic lines,
Yeah.
or copper lines, and they're trying to recoup some of that cost. And
Yeah.
so they'll pay money for more customers. And so we're able to generate revenue and then share that with property managers as an incentive to use the tool.
Okay, cool. So what's the name of the tool or the service?
It's called utility profit.
Utility profit. Okay. All right. And it's PROFIT, I would assume.
Yep,
Not
exactly.
like you're prophesying. All right, got it. So utility profit. And so this really is solving that challenge to just streamline all that. And there's a financial incentive or benefit for the property manager helping to get these things connected.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, and one
So
of the
win all the way around.
women, yeah, exactly. And that's the best type of tool, something that it doesn't just benefit one party, but all the people involved. And so, it's exciting that now there's people across the entire United States using it. We've been helping thousands of renters per month. Just in the last year, there's been, I think, over 750 property managers using it. Some really big ones with thousands of properties, all the way down to
Yeah.
people that just have a couple of homes in the portfolio. I think the average has about 400 homes. And, it's really kind of empowering that we bring something to the world and that fast, that many people are using it. It's cool to see.
Yeah, cool. So, and Ben's leading the nerds on the team, making this all work.
Yeah, we're both working closely with engineers, and I mean, it's been a big lift. I mean, we've had to do all sorts of wacky things to be able to get this data because, like I said, it didn't
Oh, I
exist. And
imagine.
we'd have to like literally go and draw service maps, that were PDFs on old websites, and then turn them into a structured database that can
Right.
pull it up correctly. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
you're
kind
really
of like
just doing this ground level legwork to like get it's almost like you're transferring old records into a digital format,
yeah,
so that people could play their MP3s or something. Yeah.
it kind of feels like that. It's almost like we're like taking the yellow pages and then putting it online or something. I
Yeah.
mean, it's kind of a wacky problem that we're solving there.
So you're
And
single-handedly bringing the utility space into the future. So,
yeah, and one thing that we've been doing over the last couple months that I think is pretty cool is that there's this whole industry that exists for the multifamily apartment space
mm,
related to what they call as like fiber as an amenity or fiber to the home. And
yeah.
so the way it would work on multifamily would be, these big telecoms would say, "Hey, we'll sell you 1,000 units of internet, and then we'll give you a discount for doing so." And then you can either kind of keep that for yourself, or you can share that with your tenants as a way to help your apartment stand out from other apartments. The apartments are identifiable and also easier for the telecoms to spot. The
Yeah.
hard thing about homes is it's this long tail of properties, and there hasn't been a good way to aggregate them. I think over the last few years, there's been some, real estate investment trusts that have got to scale, and so it kind of got these telecom companies thinking, hey, maybe I should go, sell into this market, see if we can apply the same principles of this program from apartments to single family. But it
Mm,
hasn't yet been done at any sort of significant scale. It's kind of a new concept. Now that we have hundreds of thousands of homes that we are effectively the on switch for, we're helping to source these deals, and we're able to bring significant discount from retail pricing to property managers and consumers. So we're adding that as a new program that we're doing. We're calling it like fiber ready homes. So it's a cool thing because we can help property managers identify what portion of their portfolio has the underlying technology at the home to have hyper fast internet speeds, and
yeah.
then do all of the enrollment process and the billing process to be able to offer a program like this. And it's pretty gnarly. Like the average property manager that will turn on this program can make tens of thousands of dollars a year. It's roughly $10 per month per door. So if you're a 300 door property manager, this is about $18,000, 18,000 per year that you'd be able to generate, and just you know kind of free cash flows for enabling something that the renters want.
Right. Just making more money. And yeah, I mean, high speed internet, also being able to bring that to your units, it creates a bigger incentive for people to rent it. I mean, it's definitely something I research before I buy a home or move anywhere. I'm always like, what internet's available there? Because my life is going to be happening through this. And a lot of more people are working from home, especially since COVID.
True. Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, I think a lot of renters see internet more important than running water in some ways. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like everyone's on Netflix and doing work from home calls, and it's super important for renters.
Yeah,
Agreed.
absolutely. Yeah, that's interesting. And it sucks though when you like if you rent somewhere and that you only have one option and it's not the option that you really want in that area. Because sometimes they've negotiated like, oh, it's Comcast cable or something like this, and it's low speed or whatever. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, sometimes you're kind of limited by what lines have been laid, and sometimes there's limited options. But it's cool because now we have these two programs. We have one, which is that one I just explained, and then we have a second one. We call it like a marketplace. So it will
Okay.
truly show you everything that's available, every single company, every single speed, all the details of it, and help to facilitate just being able to turn it on a lot easier.
Got it. How does this work? Like the property manager gets set up in your system. They've got their properties, in this, and then they can figure out the tenants when they're onboarding a new tenant. They're like, hey, before we give you keys and move you in, we want to make sure utilities are getting moved over. So you help streamline this.
That's right. Yeah. So it will connect seamlessly with property managers, property management software, pull in the active listings that they have, and then
Okay.
it will have triggers around the move-in date. So when someone's been approved and you have a move-in date that's approaching, it will send reminders and say, hey, you're moving in end of the month, like before you move in, please show that you've turned the electric on so that there's not going to be bill back problems and things like that. So it handles the communication. And then what's pretty cool about the tool too is it's all white labeled. Utility Profit, it's not, like a tenant friendly name, because
Yeah.
it's really for the property manager. And
Okay.
so we're just helping to facilitate these things. So it's the
Got it.
property manager's logo. We're more just the underlying technology, which I think is good because like a renter in the process doesn't want to get handed off to another third party. They just
Yeah.
want
Who are
to
these
stick
guys?
to
Why should I trust them? I trust you. I'm working with you. But yeah,
that's
got it.
exactly right.
No, I think that's really smart. And so your business model, then your growth strategy really is to leverage and support the property managers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're trying to partner with all the property managers in the single family rental space. And, last I checked, there's at least 5 to 10 million homes that are managed by third party property managers. And we want to become the main place where people use to turn on utilities. And, we talked about entrepreneurs and having a big vision earlier in the call. I think we're solving an important problem by building this Google Maps of utilities and also just making a better experience. I think anytime you start a business, though, you're kind of thinking about like, okay, well, if I'm able to pull this off, how could this even be even more significant long term?
Mm,
And one of the things that I've been just thinking about as I've been doing it is, today we are helping to connect the dots between these things, but I bet in the not too distant future, maybe a few years out, we'll be responsible for millions of homes and helping to turn on these
yeah.
utilities. We'll probably want to go down the stack of utilities, instead of just directing you to be going to, XYZ local power source. Maybe they get directed to a company that, similar to how we're able to get discounts on
Mm,
internet because we have so much scale, we could buy energy contracts in deregulated markets and,
okay.
inch down becoming a utility. And
Okay.
so I think it's an interesting thing,
So
learning
you're
a lot
saying
about.
maybe there's a potential the property manager could be the utility?
We'll be able to help the property manager earn more money
Yeah.
on this process because we will
There's
be
more
able to
margin.
direct them to like a utility that we own, and we're
Right.
able to help them monetize these other things like natural gas and
Okay.
electricity.
Got it. Love it. Yeah, you're passing the benefit on to the property manager. So, yeah, that gives them quite an incentive to help you grow this, right? So, I love it. So, I mean, this really gives property managers a strong competitive advantage over self-management then.
Yeah, I think so. I think property managers, they have so many things that they're doing, and this is one of those set it and forget it types of tools. It's not something you have to have mastery over and like learn another thing. This is like you get on, you set the thing up, you get the logo added and get it synced to your PM software, and then you're done with it. And it just kind of is happening in the background and then just notifies you if
Got it. So the
the
setup is
utility.
pretty easy, and then it makes it a lot easier for the property management team to make sure utilities are getting set up correctly. There's visibility into seeing what's been set up and what hasn't, it sounds like. And you mentioned integrations with property management software, and I know everybody listening is like, but what about my software, the one I'm using? So
Yeah,
what integrations do you guys have set up already?
it's all the major ones. So what we find is about like Appfolio is popular, Renfine's
Mhm.
becoming more and more popular. Propertyware is another one. Buildium's one that we have in the works too. But yeah, I think most
Rent
people that are
manager?
Rent Manager, yeah, that's one that we work with too. Yeah, I know there's a
Cool.
lot of options for
Yeah.
property managers there, but
Yeah.
um,
Okay. Very cool. Yeah. So everybody listening, there you go. So they're like, oh, he mentioned mine. I'm okay.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's cool that it just works in a broad way like that. And
Got it.
it's kind of interesting too that the tool even is able to work, even if you don't even have a property management software, we figure out some ways to, even work in that use case.
Sure.
But most people have PM software,
As
so
long as you can get the properties like into your system, then
that's
got
right.
it. Okay, cool. But if they have those, then and you have that connection, then it's yeah, it'll just streamline things, makes it even more turnkey.
That's right.
Got it. Cool. So, all right. So, what else should people know about this? Like, what are the big questions property managers have been asking you?
I think one question is, how much money I earn from this,
They want to know about the money. Let's talk about the money.
So the average property manager it's a range of $25 to $40 per move-in that happens. It ends up being about $25 to $30 on average is what we're seeing across the country. And so I think it's one of those things where it's like nice gravy. What we find is that the average property manager, they're like, this is nice, I can make some extra money from it. But I think it's like, not enough to go. It just adds to the bottom line a little bit, every little thing.
Sure.
So the main reason why people use it is the time savings. It's just
Absolutely.
one last thing to have to worry about. So that's what we're seeing as we talk to people.
Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, just the amount of time you're paying a team member, if they're like $25 to $35 an hour, for example, they might be spending an hour or two here or there just calling, trying to negotiate back and forth with the tenant, get these things set up. So
Property management some days feels like death by 1,000 mosquitoes.
yeah, I often joke it can be death by 1,000 cuts, or it
Yeah,
can be a really well-oiled, systemizable machine. But yeah, yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
exactly.
So yeah, it offsets a little bit at the move-in cost, and then just the time savings. You're not having to pay your team to do all this communication. And speed in onboarding is a real challenge for a lot of companies that are really in a high growth sort of state. Like small companies might have a hard time just onboarding 10 units in a month, and
True.
larger companies, it can be pretty hairy if things aren't well dialed in.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. It's all about having the systems in place so that they
Mm,
scale with you.
very cool. Well, is there anything else you think people should know about utility profit? And then we can get into like, how can they connect and get something like this going?
Yeah. So the website's utilityprofit.com,
Okay.
and it has some more information about how it works and has some videos of the actual product. You can see what it looks like from the renter's perspective, from your perspective, in the dashboard that gives transparency. And it
Yeah.
kind of just walks you through everything about the product. And then there's a way on the website to be able to either book a demo if you have any questions about how something works. And then what we do is we'll just help you do like an onboarding call where we have people connect their PM software, upload a logo, invite their team members. Really simple, straightforward process, and then it's kind of good to go. So it's a very streamlined thing. People typically will do it, and it will be live same day. It's not like some big heavy lift or something. You just kind of go through this 15-minute process. We hope you get it all synced up, and then it's good to go.
So there's competition out there, right? Like this is a new thing in the space, but previously there's all these companies that try to, you know, negotiate and be able to pull in money, and by being the person that gets people on a certain internet service or gets people, and they get these kickbacks from the companies, and that's how they make their money. How do you feel like utility profit sort of stands out from those? And I mean, my guess is that you have the database, you have the data, like your ability to streamline. You're not having to go and start doing research, and that you're just much
Right.
faster.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. So there's been this whole category over the last couple of years that's called a home concierge.
Yeah.
And it's historically been like a call center model where a rep will get the address and they'll, on your behalf, Google around, make some calls, go try to set things up. And I think that was a helpful step. And it seems like the natural thing that the industry
Yeah.
would have been doing. But this is just the natural progression of it, building that database out, making it something that is like, a true streamlined tool for everybody, and
Yes.
just digitizing it a lot more.
This is the future. This is the future. It's the next step. You're going to be a sponsored DoorGrow Live. So make sure, everybody come to DoorGrow Live this year. Our theme this year is innovating the future of property management. And so we're going to be sharing innovative stuff, innovative new models of pricing, not doing it the same way everybody else has been doing it, like percentage or flat fee. There's a lot of innovation, and that's our goal at DoorGrow. We're always trying to figure out what are the most innovative stuff. We've got AI maintenance coordinators. We've got all sorts of stuff that are going to be showcased at this event. So if you don't want to be behind the times and have your lunch eaten by competitors and startups that are savvier and more focused on the future, make sure you come to DoorGrow Live. You're going to want to be there, because the people that are at DoorGrow Live are going to be the ones that are getting a head start on these really effective cost-saving new tools, these ideas that are going to help you have more profit in your business. And so, Zac, we appreciate you being a sponsor. We're excited to showcase you and some other tools at our event. So
That's going to be fun. I'll be here right around the corner. So get
yeah,
that ticket.
check it out at doorgrowlive.com and make sure you get your tickets. And we're going to be talking a little bit more in the future, probably on our podcast here and just online, about some of the cool things that you will get or learn if you come to DoorGrow Live this year in May at the Kalahari Resort in Round Rock, Texas. So cool. Well, Zac, is there anything else you want to share before you go? Parting word of wisdom for entrepreneurs out there that haven't had $100 million exits and built big giant things and they're just struggling to build their little machine. What would you say to them?
I would just say, like, whatever it is that you think that's holding you back, just start trying to do it. I think a lot of times you build up whatever it is in your head and you think, well, I would do it if I had this, or what if I have to hire this person, or, I need to have this figured out, or I don't know how this works. Like, I'm going to just say no to it. I would just say, just start doing it. It doesn't have to be perfect to start. And the more you just take that first step, it will become more clear. And sometimes it's harder to see the next 10 steps in front of you, but it's pretty easy to take that first step. So I'd say have a bias for action, get your hands dirty, do it yourself. You have mentioned a lot of these things about AI and how the best companies are using AI. We're really leaning into that as an organization. It doesn't matter what people's role is. We're saying, download ChatGPT 3 and talk to it, ask it questions. Like, there's so many cool resources today. It's the best time to figure things out and do things and take that first step.
Yeah, GPT 4.5, we're getting clues that's dropping and going to be out for everybody soon. And then Grok 3, I've been really geeking out on Grok 3. So it's pretty next level. So, but yeah, cool. I love the idea. Done is better than perfect. I love the idea of rapid iteration. So many times for those of you that are in the earlier stages of entrepreneurs and listening to this is great advice, because I've seen inside a lot of businesses, a lot of small businesses. And one of the biggest mistakes a lot of them make is they try to make everything perfect before they ship it, before they launch it. They want to get all my processes dialed in, and they're trying to solve problems they don't even have yet. They're trying to solve future problems instead of their current problem. And so rapid iteration really is the secret to growing a business quickly, because you learn very fast what does and doesn't work. Just start trying shit. Just do it, break stuff, and you're going to learn way faster, and everything's figure outable. So
yeah, and in that spirit, it doesn't matter what the thing is. You can always get feedback from it, even if it's not totally built yet. Like, it can be on a napkin, or it could be the next level of that. But go build the thing in whatever low fidelity way, and then go talk to your customers about it. And this is going to have different applications for different types of business, because you're going to talk about different things. But maybe you have a new program that you're thinking property owners might want to see, like, get their feedback on it, or maybe you want to launch a new website or a new logo or whatever it is. I would just say, it doesn't have to be perfect, bring it, but you have to get feedback on it. So definitely go and partner with who it is that is going to see it, and then just talk to them about it and say, well, how could this be better? What is this missing? What would be the next thing to do? If you could do anything with this, what would you do? And people love to share advice. I mean, I think that's the other thing. It's like, over the last couple of years since I've been doing entrepreneurship, I've been kind of amazed at how many people have been willing to share their time and their advice. And especially if you get an intro to someone from something, I think there's this huge thing of maybe you're afraid to ask for that intro, or, have that conversation because it's not perfect yet. I would say, find the ideal person that you want to talk to, and then figure out how to work backwards and how to get an intro to them, and then have that conversation. I think you have to be vulnerable in it, because you are going to come across dumb sometimes. People are going to say, like, how did you not know this? Everyone knows this. But, like, just lose your ego in that. Be okay with not being okay. And then you're going to feel a lot better, because on the other side of it, you're going to learn so much.
Yeah, I think the secret to being smart is just being willing to look stupid. So, I mean, for sure, ask the dumb question that you're afraid to ask, because you're going to learn way faster. And I really think proximity is power. Like, just another reason people should come to DoorGrow Live is I think we attract the most growth-oriented property management business owners in the industry. And just being in proximity to all these sort of change makers and people trying new stuff and people experimenting, people willing to invest in themselves and to pay like coaches like DoorGrow. And then I use all my clients as a mass rapid iteration sort of project. Like we're always figuring out more and more stuff and I'm gathering these ideas. And so we've got systems in place to just allow us to innovate in this industry a lot faster. And so we're really excited about bringing these kind of things to DoorGrow Live and showcasing it. So if you're not part of our program, you're not one of our clients, come check out the magic at DoorGrow Live, connect with some of the people there, and you might realize you found a home. So yeah, your family might be there. So yeah, entrepreneurs, we're a different breed of people. We take risks. We're willing to try new things, and we're not focused primarily on safety and security. We're focused more on fulfillment and freedom and contribution. And so this natural offshoot, entrepreneurs are the most helpful people, especially the healthy ones. When you're in a healthy growth-minded state, you want to benefit and help everybody. You're not gatekeeping information. Like people are sharing stuff. And so, yeah, I found the same thing to be true in the high level masterminds, coaches that I work with. Like just being around the people in these programs has been probably the biggest benefit, more than even learning from the guru or whoever that is sharing stuff sometimes. And so, proximity is
I
a
think
big
that's
deal.
well said. You kind of become an average of the people that you spend most time with. So if you're around, someone who's going to be pessimistic about everything, then chances are you're not going to try things as much. I mean, that was like one of the reasons why I had originally moved from, where I was growing up in New Hampshire. I remember when I was pitching Favor when I was 20 something, people are like, no one's going to pay $5 for something like that. And, how you don't know how to code. You can't figure that out.
Right.
Go get a job like everybody else. And then I kind of moved and found my tribe, in Silicon Valley area, and then in Austin, Texas. And then next thing you know, I'm actually doing the thing.
I think even if people just come to DoorGrow Live to connect with somebody like you, and they can create a relationship with somebody like you or any of the change makers or players that we attract at our event, I mean, you've done things that a lot of people would dream of being able to do in business, right? And so come make those connections. Come to DoorGrow Live and make some connections because it's going to change your life for sure. So, well, Zac, I appreciate you coming on the show. People can connect it with your company at utilityprofit.com, do a demo. And it's been great having you here.
Hey, thanks so much for having me on, Jason.
All right. So everybody, if you are struggling to grow your business, you're struggling to deal with operations, reach out to us. Check us out at doorgrow.com. We would love to have a conversation, see if we might be able to help you with something. And that's what we do all day long. And we care about our clients. We really want to make sure that everybody succeeds. We only win if you're winning. And so until next time, everybody, to our mutual growth, let's all win. Bye, everyone.